Track Palmer here with another video. In this video, I will show you how to replace ball joints on most Toyota motor vehicles. It will be similar for Hondas as well. The steps will be demonstrated on this 2014 Toyota Highlander. The common signs of a bad ball joint are squeaking noise when turning or having a broken ball joint boot. For me, I am replacing these because they have been driven for over 350,000 miles. And I also have the control arm to replace, so I will replace them both. A link to that video will be in the description below. The steering knuckle will need to be removed for this job, so a wheel alignment will need to be done. A quick overview of the process will be to lift the vehicle, remove the wheel, secure the vehicle on jack stands, remove the axle nut, remove the tie rod end, remove the brake caliper, remove the ABS sensor, remove two nuts and a bolt connecting the ball joint to the control arm, remove the strut to steering knuckle bolts, remove the steering knuckle and ball joint together, remove the castle nut, then remove the ball joint. Install the new ball joint and reverse all these steps taken to remove the steering knuckle and ball joint. I will now show you the steps and provide torque specs. Loosen the lug nut with a 19mm socket, then lift the vehicle using a jack. Remove the wheel. You will need to remove the axle nut, and if you don't have an impact gun to remove this easily, there are two other ways to remove this. Start the vehicle and have someone press the brake while you use a socket and a breaker bar to break the axle nut. The other option is to remove the Toyota logo from the wheel, then reinstall the wheel. Lower the vehicle on the ground, apply the parking brake, then loosen the nut with a socket and breaker bar. If this is seized, you may need to stand on the breaker bar like this to break the axle nut. I have an impact gun, so I don't need to try any of these other options. I will now remove the wheel and place under the vehicle for added safety. I will now lower the vehicle on the jack stands. Now it's time to remove the tie rod end. Remove the cotter pin with cutting pliers to remove the 14mm nut. I'll now use a hammer to carefully tap the knuckle while avoiding hitting the tie rod end. It should pop right out like that. I will now break the strut nuts with a 22mm socket and a breaker bar. I'll use a 19mm wrench on the other side to prevent it from spinning, while using the impact gun to remove the 22mm nut. I'll now remove the axle nut. I will be using this 30mm 12-point socket with the impact gun. The nut is off. I will temporarily leave it here. Now I'll remove the brake rotor and caliper. The easy way is to remove the two 19mm caliper bracket bolts and remove the rotor with the caliper like this. But I'll remove the caliper from the caliper bracket because I will be replacing the brake pads and servicing the caliper slider pins. It's important to not bend, kink or stress the brake lines. I recommend hanging it from the struts. Now I'll remove the two 17mm nut and one 17mm bolt that connects the ball joint to the control arm. I will now remove the ABS sensor, then remove the strut bolts. Now I can remove the steering knuckle and the ball joint together. Now it's time to remove the ball joint. First, remove the cotter pin. If the pin is seized by rust, the ends could be clipped with a cutter. Then remove the castle nut with the impact gun. A socket and ratchet should work also. The right tool just makes it easier. The nut is off. Now I can use a hammer to knock this out. This ball joint is still in pretty good shape, but I won't wait for it to go bad. This is the left ball joint for the left steering knuckle, torque to 94 foot-pounds. If the hole in the stud for the cotter pin is not showing, you will need to keep torquing the nut until the opening is exposed. Now I can secure with a quarter pin. It's time to reinstall. I will insert the drive axle and keep it in place with the axle nut. Now I will align the two studs on the ball joint in the control arm. Now I will secure the steering knuckle to the struts using the strut bolts. I will now install the nuts for the strut bolts and torque to 155 foot-pounds. Now it's time to install the ABS sensor. Do not overtime this. Now I'll install the two 17mm nuts and one 17mm bolt for the ball joint and torque to 94 foot-pounds. Now I can reinstall the tie rod end and torque to 36 foot-pounds. Remember to install the quarter pin. Reinstall the brake caliper and torque to 79 foot-pounds. I will be applying silicone grease to the sliding pins and install new brake pads. Now I can install the brake caliper bolts and torque to 22 foot-pounds. I'll tighten the axle nut a bit, then torque the nut to 215 foot-pounds once the wheel is installed and the vehicle is lowered back to the ground. These lug nuts will be torqued to 76 foot-pounds. I'll now lift the vehicle off the jack stands and lower on the ground. Now I can torque the axle nut to 215 foot-pounds, then reinstall the Toyota logo in the wheel. Next, I will do the same for the other side to replace the ball joint, then take the vehicle to the garage for a wheel alignment. This job is done. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet done so. Give this video a thumbs up and see you on the next one, guys.